Welcome back to the studio. And as it says in the title, my grandson told me a joke. Now, I will also mention in the video that he's not a little grandson. He's not like a 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old. He's a teenager. And so his joke's going to be more adult. And he's actually crafting the art of telling a story, which is great to see. Because I've gone through all the knock-knock jokes and the terrible things like that. And now he's coming out with actual good jokes. And I liked it. I thought, what a great joke. And whilst I was thinking about the joke, I thought, I could perhaps illustrate it. Then when I'm inking it, I can tell the joke as a kind of a backdrop. So you're watching me ink it, and it's also a joke. Hopefully with some sound effects. I don't know how technical I am yet, so we'll see how that goes. So that's what this week's tutorial is, or not tutorial, video with some tips, shall we say. So it's kind of a tutorial. It's also kind of just a cartoon. And it's about drawing a character in rain. So it's not just about rain coming down, it's about the expression on the character's face, hunched up against the rain. It's almost like a feeling, teaching you or showing you how I draw a feeling. So without further ado, let's go and draw the picture, shall we? And tell a joke.
Hello again, welcome to the Cartoonist Studio, and today we're going to be getting all wet and wild and windy, which is quite good because, quite frankly, it's very hot and humid out there at the moment, and I'm having to draw this cartoon with the windows closed because behind where I live, I may have mentioned this in the past, there's a private school. And they're out there in the tennis court at the moment, and it's full of, it says private schools, it's all full of like, that's a really good shot, Charmander. Oh, you think so? Oh, yes, well, absolutely excellent. Oh, good, I've been working at that particular swing for a very, 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 very long time. Oh, well, it's excellent, your mother will be so proud. So trying to sort of avoid you getting all of that, and me having a vague attempt at being professional, I've closed the window. And I want to get it done quickly, otherwise I'm just going to disappear in a pool of sweat, I think. So I'm going to draw someone running in the rain, and you think, oh, well, you know, didn't tune in for that. I tuned in for something more exciting. But there's two reasons why. One, as I pointed out in the introduction, my grandson told me a joke, and he's not like, you know, a 3, 4-year-old, or not anymore anyway. So he told me this joke, and I quite liked it. I like it. So I thought, I'll tell you the joke. But I'm not going to tell you it now. I'm going to tell you it whilst I ink this picture. And I'll be doing that, obviously, after I finish penciling it. So, but the part of the joke is it involves this guy. I won't tell you what's the joke now, obviously. But part of it involves him running in the rain to I don't know what you call a female version of a monastery. Is it a nunnery? I don't know. It's where they make penguins, little nuns. There. So he's running in the rain, and I thought it might be a good way to show you, or give you technique tips, shall we say, on how to draw someone running in the rain. I mean, you can just do it with a few little lines like that, and a little few eye drop or teardrops, shall we say, to denote the rain, and that's fine. But we don't do that here at the Cartoonist Studio, do we? No, we don't. See, we don't do that. What we do here at the Cartoonist Studio is we do a lot more action and try and make it a bit more authentic and stuff. Or try to, anyway. So I'm giving you tips on how I go about portraying heavy rain, not just rain, but heavy rain. And this is it. And then when I finished it, we'll do a little bit of a, maybe slightly speed it up. I don't know. It depends how long it takes me to ink the cartoon, because I've already recorded the telling of the joke. And it has to sort of fit that. So whilst I'm telling the joke, you'll be seeing the inked product, shall we say. So that'd be fun, wouldn't it? And if the joke's not good, blame my grandson. It's all his fault. If it's brilliant, it's because I told it well. Right. Don't know when I'm happy with that foot. Not what that leg. Sorry, not quite sure. I think it'll be okay. Now this isn't how you necessarily hold an umbrella, but because I like to do that sort of business with a little finger all the time with my characters, you've probably noticed it. It's a flaw. Thumb there to hold it, and it's running, so it probably wouldn't happen in real life, but to denote action and movement, we slightly bend it. Now I'm doing this line way too high. I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm doing it for the point of the exercise, shall we say. You probably have your own way of drawing rain. This is just mine, and maybe you'll pick up something from what I do and put it into the things that you do, and great, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Everyone's happy. Also, now this is going to go against what I'm about to say, because we're going to choose. This is a very stormy bit of rain, so we're not just having him running through rain. We're having him running through a very windy rainstorm. So we have to work out, just like if you're doing light and shade, you have to work out where the light's coming from. Now we have to work out which way the wind is coming from, and this particular picture is coming from this way. So already we've got the back of the head here with the hair just stuck up, and at the front it's flowing forward. We'll come to that in a minute. Also with the umbrella, I bent it ever so slightly. Even though the wind's coming that way, it's bending this way. That doesn't seem to make much sense, does it? But then again, you realise by now that very little makes sense in the cartoonist studio. But because he's running against, he's running this way, that it kind of helps to show the flow of action. So mind your own business. Yeah, so normally I would just do a little bit of this and I draw the umbrella. But a good way of doing it is just to carry it straight on and use it, say about here. That's the pointy bit that sticks out the top of the umbrella. I don't know what the technical term for that is. I'm sure someone knows it. And do the umbrella like this. See what we're doing? See what we're doing in a vague attempt at being professional. And I may even put the little knobbly bits on the end. Right, so now he's running. We'll have his other arm down here for no other reason other than purely aesthetic purposes. I like the look of it. I like the cut of its jib. And we'll even shade that little bit there. So, okay, there he is. He is now running. Officially is running. Might bring that down there and hide the nose completely. Even though it does follow the contour, the nose is very confusing. But if you didn't know the nose was there, you wouldn't know, would you? Take a deep breath. Okay. There's many reasons why I've chosen to have him running in the rain and the rain come from this way. We'll just give a little bit of ground here, just to denote where it is, ground level. I'm also going to draw, or these pencil lines here will be rubbed out in the finished picture, or rather they're not going to be inked. So here it denotes some tree line or bushes or what have you. All okay so far? Good. Then we'll move on to the next exciting installment of what the hell's going on here. We'll start putting the rain in. Now, you can draw rain coming straight down, like so, or you can do it going across, like that. And we'll do a few just across. Just a few, not many, just to give you an indication of what's going on. Now, it's windy, as I said, so we can sort of do this as well. Bring a few swirly ones in. Because rain does that. It's very confusing. Just as soon as you think you know what it's about to do, it goes and does something else. Now, you don't want too many over the actual body itself. So as you go up higher, you can make them a little bit more dense. And away we go, like this. Now you can put just a few little dots in, just to denote flurries. And there we have it. That's pretty much that. Now, strengthen the body up a little bit here, because another technique when drawing rain is if it hits you, it tends to bounce off you. It doesn't just sort of like soak. It soaks in, but it doesn't sort of just soak straight in. A lot of it bounces off. Some of it soaks in. It's very uncomfortable. Goes down the back there, down your neck into your back. And it's horrible, and you never really get over it, and you're traumatized for life. And, you know, there you are. Well, maybe that's just me. Right. Now, he's come out of a puddle, so we'll have a little bit of water coming up, shall we? And we'll just come out of that one as well. Now he's coming out of it, so he's dragging the water up behind him. So he drags it up. And just put a few little dots there. And we'll put some cobbled stones. And that'll give the ground a nice finished feeling, shall we say. And a few over here. You haven't got to sort of use that as a strict eye line and don't go above or below it. Okay, right, that's that. I'll do a little bit more rain here, intensify it a little bit. There's a reason why I'm doing this again. There's always some kind of method in my madness, not much admittedly, but there's some. And we'll do the umbrella next. Yeah, I don't want too much down here, not too much down here. We'll come to that as well. Now with the umbrella, you don't just fill it in solid. It's going to be a black umbrella for the sake of it, right? It's just the way it will, dark blue or whatever. It's dark colour. So what we now do is shade it, but not go right to the top. Bring it round in some kind of a shape to follow the shape of the umbrella, if you like. Okay. And then, I mean, I wouldn't do this normally. I just think, well, I know that this is going to be solid, so I'll leave it at that until I come to ink it. But for the sake of illustration, and for the sake of making a point, and for the sake of trying to act like I know what I'm talking about, we'll just leave it like this. And the reason why we do the top bit light is, I don't really know what the technical thing is, but it kind of looks like it's getting wet. And which is pretty much what it would do in the rain. Now, here's a bit of a technical thing. We do little dots like this. You could do it all over, because this also gives the impression of rain bouncing off. Now, because it's coming this way, it's not going to be hitting all of it. It'll be coming across there. So this will be kind of protecting that area. So you start again around here. See? And it wouldn't go all the way over there, because rain doesn't go like that. It either goes like that, or sometimes in a bit of a wavy line. So it's all over this area. Like I said, just like if you were doing light and shade, you choose where the light was coming from. Now you're doing rain, windy rain, you have to choose what direction that is coming from for this particular purpose, because all the way down this section here, we want to put little dots where the rain is hitting him, and it would be a little bit here as well. And maybe just a little bit over there. You enjoying this? Is it looking like I know what I'm talking about? You can always leave comments at the bottom and say, you're absolutely rubbish, or I tell you what, I didn't know anything about rain before. Now I do. Yours sincerely, the Meteorology Department of the BBC. I can just exaggerate his thumb a little bit, and there we have that. Now I can strengthen that line, double it up, bit of shadow underneath there. Actually should go there, shouldn't it? Because yes, it should. It just should, okay? It just should. And we can do the same on the ground here, all the way along. All the way down here. And there's also another reason for that. And we'll be coming to that in another little minute. But we're almost done with the drawing now. We go back to here, don't we? Now, why am I not going to ink these lines in afterwards? Because when you're drawing rain, another way of showing how heavy the rain is the distance is more of a hazy thing. So what you do is you start drawing the lines up like this. Not right from the bottom, from roughly where this rain line is. So like here, the rain line, the dots, shall we say, coming off the ground to denote the power of the rain are here. Up here, they're over there, or they're down there, or they're over here. So if I was doing those, I'd be taking the line from there. And you take it right up to these lines. You haven't got to get them exact. Just get as many of them right as you can, or as close as you can to your original line. It doesn't matter so much here because you can't see what's behind him, but here it's important to make sure that you stick to the line of the dots, or the height or the depth of the dots. And then you carry it on down here. Also remember that it's got some on here as well. It's always better to come from bottom up. I know I did the other way there, but that was just because I was working on this little area here. And that's pretty much it. So you see what I mean now? It gives the impression that there's something behind it. When you remove that hard line, it just looks even more effective. So there we have it. There we have someone running in a storm on a dark or stormy night, if you like. And if these lines then come through there, it crosses over these and gives them even more effect. I'll tell you what, I should do this for a living, you know. Right, we're done. So that is pretty much it on the tutorial side. Now we go and do the inking to the accompaniment of me telling my grandson's joke. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the joke. Let me know what you think. Be gentle, because like I said, if it goes wrong, it's all his fault. If it goes well, I told it brilliantly. And come back next time when we'll be definitely doing something else. I think we're working on a logo, the remaking of a logo that I saw, which was very uninspiring, and we're going to try and make it a bit more inspiring. Also, if you like this kind of content, like, subscribe. Hit the notification bell, share it, and the usual sort of stuff that I ask you to do, which you very kindly do. And yeah, so I shall see you next time. In the meantime, let's go off somewhere. We might even have a sponsor bit first. I don't know. It depends how much time we've got. And I'll tell you what. I'll just lengthen it so it's correct. And yeah, we'll do something else next time. Thanks very, very, very much for your time. It means an awful lot to me. And I will see you all again soon. Until then, have a great time and goodbye for now. It was a dark and stormy night. Well, it had to be a dark and stormy night, didn't it? All good stories start with a dark and stormy night. And there's this salesman. He's travelling around a road which he's not normally travelling. It's late at night and the rain is just lashing across the windscreen like it did in all the good Hollywood movies. And his car just breaks down. And he fiddles with the cage, he does everything he can with his limited experience on cars, but he just can't seem to get it working. So he's looking around desperately thinking, I'm in the middle of nowhere. Then he sees this light just up this driveway and he's thinking, what if that's a porch light? So he grabs his waterproof, he gets out the car and he struggles down the path. The rain is lashing down, he's stumbling through the newly formed puddles. And eventually he gets to the doorway and it is a porch light. When he looks up, he notices it's a massive, massive house, a mansion possibly. So he knocks on this door, this big thumping knock on the door. The door opens and there's this little nun just looking out at him. And she's saying, can I help you? And he's saying, yeah, I'm really sorry, sister. I didn't mean to disturb you this late tonight. Just my car's broken down. It's at the bottom of the road and can't seem to get it started. I wonder if I could borrow your phone and get the services to come out. So she says, hey, you don't need to worry about that. You're coming now. You're welcome to the Sisterhood of Fidelma. And we're here to help you. We'll give you some food, we'll give you some drink, and give you a bed to sleep in for the night. And tomorrow morning, you'll have your car all fixed up. So don't worry about it. She said, I possibly impose. It's just no problem, don't worry about it. We here at the Sisterhood of Fidelma, we're here to help. So he goes in and they feed him and they give him a drink and they send him up to bed. Anyway, about 4 o'clock in the morning, he wakes up and he can hear this noise coming from beneath him. Can't quite work out what it is, it's just a noise. And he's intrigued. He wants to go and have a look, but he doesn't know the house very well and all the lights are out, and so he probably wouldn't find his own way back to his room, so he didn't think much more about it and he fell asleep. The next morning he woke up bright and early. The rain had stopped. He went downstairs and he was having breakfast, and the little nun came in. She said, "Your car's all fixed and ready to go now." He said, "Oh, thank you very much. It's very kind of you." He said, "But before I do go," he said, "I was woken in the night, round about 4 o'clock, and I heard this noise coming from below. I couldn't quite work out what it was. What was it?" He says, "The noise is. I'm sorry I can't tell you because you're not a monk." And he said, "Well, I have to be a monk to find out. I have to be a monk to find out that." He said, "Well, can't you just tell me?" "No, I can't tell you because you're not a monk." He didn't want to push it, so he thanked the he thanked the nuns, and off he went on his way. Anyway, go forward about 6-7 months, I think it was. He was going through the same area. It was lashing down with rain again, and surprise among surprise, the car broke down, virtually the same spot. And he could still see the light on, the porch light, so he got out of the car and he went back up there, knocked on the door, and this little nun came out there, and he said, "I recognise you. You're the fellow who was here a few months ago." He said, "That's right." He said, "We never guessed my car's broken down again. It's coming in. We'll give you something to eat and drink and a room to sleep in." He said, "Are you sure?" "It's no problem. We're at the Sisterhood of Fidelma. This is what we do." So he goes in, has something to eat, has something to drink, and goes to bed. Same thing again. 4 o'clock, he wakes up to this noise. And he's thinking, what on earth is that? I mean, it's starting to, he's only been there twice, but it's starting to get to him. What is it? Can't go out the room again. Once again, doesn't know the layout. It's pitch black out there, and he probably wouldn't find his way back to his room. So he goes to sleep, wakes up, goes downstairs the next morning. The little nun comes in again. She goes, "We just fixed your car. It's all perfectly okay, ready for you." He said, "That's wonderful. Thank you once again. You are all so kind." But he said, "I was woken up at 4 o'clock by those noises from below again." Right, the noises. He said, "Can you not tell me what it was?" He said, "I can't, because you're not a monk." He said, "I know." He said, "But is there any way that I can find out?" She said, "Yeah, sure, you can become a monk." He said, "Well, how do I do that?" He said, "Right, well, you have to go out and count all the grains of sand in the world and all the blades of grass." And he said, "Really?" He said, "That's right. If you do that, you come back, you'd be a monk." So he thinks about it for a while, and he gets in his car and he drives along, and it's just got to him. He has to know. He has to know now what on earth that noise is. So he leaves his job and he tells his wife what he has to do, and she doesn't agree with it, and eventually they fall apart and the marriage dissolves, but he's determined. So he goes out there and he starts on his quest, counting all the grains of sand and all the blades of grass. 6 years later, he turns back up at the doorway, knocks on the door. The little nun opens it, and she goes, "Geez, you're the fella who was here about 6 years ago." He said, "That's right." He said, "Well, I counted all the grains of sand and all the blades of grass in the world." She said, "You better come in." So he came in, and she went out and got the Mother Superior, and she came down. He said, "The fella I'm telling you about." The Mother Superior said, "Right, how many grains of sand were there?" He said, "There were 200 trillion, 490 billion, 780 million, 42,376. And she said, "And how many blades of grass were there?" He said, "Well, strangely, there was 152,000 exactly less blades of grass than there were grains of sand." They looked at each other and they nodded and said, "That's correct, right. You're a monk." He said, "Brilliant." He said, "Right now, what's in that room?"
What's going on? What's the noises? So she pulled out this big ring of keys and she handed him this wooden key. She said, you have to go through that door there. So he goes over and he puts the key in the door and he turns it. And then he opens the door. And he walks into this room. And it's just an empty room, flagstone floors, with a bronze door facing him. So he turns to the nun and she hands him this bronze key. So he opens that door and he pushes it open and he walks in and he's left with another room. But this time it's a silver door. So she hands him the silver key and he opens that door, goes into another empty room. But this time it's a golden door. So she hands him the key to that door. He puts the key in the lock, turns it, opens the door and walks in. And once again, it's another empty room. And this goes on and on and on. He puts keys in the doors, he opens them, he goes into an empty room with nothing except another door. And he goes on for about an hour like this. Just keeps on going on and on and on, door after door, empty room after empty room, until eventually he gets to this one room. And there's this door in front of him. And it's really ancient. I mean, it's so old. The paint has peeled right back, leaving deep rivulets and grains running down the wood. And somewhere, deeply ingrained in that wood, he can see symbols that he can't understand. Ancient symbols. So he turns around to the nun, and she's there, and she takes the final key off the ring, and she hands it to him. And he puts the key in the lock, and he turns it. And he opens the door, and he walks in. And he stands there and looks around. His jaw hits the ground. He cannot believe what he's seeing. And do you know what he saw? Well, I'm sorry, I can't tell you, because you're not a monk.